Honorable Architect Habib Khan, President COA and today's chief guest. Dr. Alka Bharat, Professor, Department of Architecture and Planning, MANIT, Bhopal, and today's key speaker. Mrs. Adusumilli, former Chief Planner, MMRDA, Mumbai, and today's key speaker. Dr. Minakshi Jain, former Director, SPAV, Professor and Dean RNC at NIT Hamirpur, and today's key speaker. Architect Ritu Singh, Practicing Architect, Jaipur, and today's key speaker. Dr. Vijay Kapse, Chairman, ITPI MRC, Nagpur. Dr. Navneet Manath, Honorary Director, COA-TRC, Bhopal. Professor Vandana Khante, Chairperson, Women's Cell, ITPI MRC, and Program Coordinator. Shri Jagdish Rajurkar, Secretary, ITPI MRC, Nagpur. Members of Institute of Town Planners and Council of Architecture, distinguished guests and invitees, and dear participants. Good afternoon to all. Ladies and gentlemen, it's indeed a great pleasure to welcome you all here. I, Sarika Bahadure, Symposium Coordinator and Treasurer, ITPI MRC Nagpur, on behalf of Institute of Town Planners India and Council of Architecture Training and Research Center, Bhopal, welcome you all on the occasion of International Women's Day. Women play a vital role in the success of any society and culture. Women constitutes 50% of the human resources. They have sustained the growth of civilization, played a major role in the society's development, and molded the future of nation. In 75 years of India's independence, we have come a long way from where women were expected to be only wives or mother to now where women have education, career, and independence. In recent years, the situation is changing and women are emerging as a source of power and symbol of progress. Despite this, their role is underplayed and they face disparity. The female students are outperforming their male counterparts by around 5 to 6% in class 12, CBSE exam, and overall state examination. But when it comes to joining the professional courses, the number of female candidates reduces drastically. The major reason for this are lack of access to attempting competitive examination, as well as reluctance of the parents to perceive their daughters for joining higher education and professional courses. Around 11 lakh candidates apply for JEE exam in 2017, but only 28% were female. Luckily, the number increased. Around 22 lakh candidates appeared in 2021, and here the female percentage was 30%. But still, there is a long number to go on. But if we just look at the number in paper 2, where we have architecture and planning admission, we have a good percentage and in fact equal number of male and female candidates. And it's a good indicator of gender equity. Similar are the numbers. If we move to Council of Architecture, there are more women studying architecture than men in India. Percentage of registered architects are also comparable. Men 53%, women 47%, which is a really good number to look at. And if we just compare the same with US, there are also 45% of the architectural school graduates at par with India. But as they move up the hierarchy in the profession, few women are seen progressively. And the numbers are really scary there. Let's look at the statistics of registered planner. Till last year, the numbers were around 6,500 plus, but among them, only 14 to 15% were women. And if we just look at the numbers as we move further, there are very less numbers in terms of the fellow members in terms of planners. It shows there's a huge gap in women participation and planning process. ITPI and COA have provided inspiration for women entering the profession, academics and research, and they have helped women architects and planners to make their way in leadership roles. Women are also successfully contributing and transforming the profession. Choosing to challenge by changing oneself is the need of an hour. The first step is to overcome the challenges by struggle, hard work, and exploration. The challenges also depends on socio-economic condition, surrounding environment, and opportunity. Thus, International Women's Day is an ideal occasion to discuss and impart knowledge on today's theme, the opportunities and challenges for women in planning and architecture professions. To start up with today's program and extend a further word of welcome to everyone here this evening, I invite Dr. Vijay Kapse, Chairman ITPI MRC Nagpur, to address a welcome speech and provide the background of the program.
Thank you, Sarika. Good afternoon, everybody. Though the Sarika have welcomed all the participant and the speaker and the chief guest, but it is my customary duty to do the welcome address officially. So the good afternoon to everybody. Today's guest of the inauguration function, architect Habib Khan, who is the president of Council of Architecture, New Delhi. Then the eminent speaker, Dr. Alka Bharat, she is the professor from the Department of Architecture and Planning, MANIT Bhopal. Mrs. Uma Madam, she is the former chief town planner, MMRDA in Mumbai. Dr. Minakshi Jain, she is the former director of the SPA Vijayawada, and right now she is the Dean Research and Consultancy at NIT Hamirpur. Also, she is the professor from the Department of Architecture. She is my senior and the alumni of the VNIT. And then the architect Ritu Singh, the practicing leading architect from the city of Jaipur and the council member of the COA. Dr. Navneet, he is the honorary director of COA and TRC Bhopal. Today's coordinator of the symposium, Dr. Smita Khan, Dr. Sarika, and Professor Vandana. The Executive Council of the MRC ITPI Nagpur, and the member of ITPI and the COA. Dear delegates, special invitee and the persons from the media, on the behalf of MRC Nagpur, I welcome to this half-day symposium on the topic opportunity and the challenges for the women in the planning and architecture profession. Dr. Sarika has already given the background about the why we are organizing the symposium and what will be the role of the women in the profession of the architect, in the profession of the planning and the architecture. But as my customary duty to give some background of the MRC ITPI Nagpur, what exactly is that? This symposium basically is planned on the occasion of the International Women's Day with the joint venture with the ITPI and the COA. So Training and the Research Center from the Bhopal with the honorary director, Dr. Navneet. So I thanks to Dr. Navneet and the architect Habib Khan for giving the opportunity to do the joint venture on the occasion of the International Women's Day. So basically, these are the two national level professional society which are working for the benefit of the planning and architecture profession. They are very good doing it. So we want to come at one place and we discuss the different issues or various issues related to our planning and architecture profession. So that is the main intention to have the joint venture. Then about the MRC Nagpur ITPI is concerned. The Maharashtra Regional Chapter Nagpur is established in the 1980 with a very few postgraduate town planner. Now we are having around more than 160 registered member in the Nagpur, and this chapter is very active among the 24 chapters available in the India. And the main objective of the ITPI is to promote the planned and sustainable urban development. It provides a platform for raising the various concerns in present planning practices. It is also foster the town and country planning education in India. In pursuance of this objective, MRC Nagpur organizes the conferences, workshop, seminar, competition, some of the training program, then some of the brainstorming session and the webinars on the current issues of the country, town and country planning profession is concerned. So in the last in this term, generally we are organized the various activity related to the lecture series 10, 11, and 12 on the various issues. Again, we are organized the one very important program in collaboration with the Nagpur Center of the IIA. Then we are again collaborated one program with the INTACT on the heritage planning and the conservation. So we have the different programs we are organizing. Again, we have done the very good program on the West Zone Conference, and that was the topic was on the impact of the Samruddhi Mark on the Nagpur and the surrounding areas. So we are organizing various events, and also in the future we want to organize the various activity, and in association with the some of the professional society available in and around your Nagpur. So about our premises is concerned, our building is the G+3 building, and we are having the all sort of activity active facilities here, like the conference hall, meeting hall, and some of the guest rooms also we are having it. We are having the facilities of the any all the modern facility we are having. So if any society or any professional body want to conduct any sort of activity in our premises, you are welcome. And we are not the profit making organization, but we are supporting the professional societies. So I request the professional society in the pre-build of architecture and planning come together and have a joint program. So with this request, again I welcome you to this half-day symposium, and I request to Sarika to process further. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now I invite Dr. Navneet Manot, Honorary Director, COA-TRC Bhopal, to address the welcome speech.
Thank you, Professor Sarika, and thank you, Kapse sir. Namaskar. On behalf of the COA-TRC Bhopal and ITPI Nagpur chapter, I, Dr. Navneet Manot, Honorary Director, TRC Bhopal, welcome all the participants, experts, and our President sir, and other dignitaries who have gathered today for celebrating the International Women's Day. Let me share with all of you a very important shlok which I have read extremely long back and which had a profound impact on me, due to which I have always carried it in my mind, जो कि मनुस्मृति के तीसरे अध्याय के 56वें श्लोक में वर्णित है, यत्र नार्यस्तु पूजन्ते रमन्ते तत्र देवता, जहां स्त्रियों की पूजा होती है वहां देवता निवास करते हैं. We have always respected and worshipped women in our civilization. We have a lot of devis as well as concept of signifying crucial natural attributes like earth, rivers as female deities. This has been so because woman is not only a mother alone who keeps her family needs before hers, but a woman is also a daughter who deeply cares for her parents. She is also a wife who acts like the air beneath her partner's wing. She is also an employee who is striving with her utmost potential to make a mark at her workplace, in addition to managing everything at her home. She is also a friend who manages her social life while loving to host everyone around her. The woman of today's 21st century is thus an undisputed expert at multitasking, carrying multiple roles and numerous responsibilities on her shoulder, en route to redeem her position in the society, a position that is not refrained within the walls of her home, but one that wants to conquer the entire world. And therefore, there cannot be just a single day to celebrate women. I strongly believe that every day is and should be a day where we respect the inherent divinity of women. But since we have all gathered here to celebrate the day, I would like to convey that the International Women's Day can also be considered as a very inspirational acknowledgement of their achievement, contributions, and leadership roles in contemporary time. Today, we all can clearly witness that women have left a significant mark in every field they have chosen, and there remains no field today in which they have not left their profound impression. Women are presented in social, political, industrial, economic, and cultural fields, and are simply not destined to remain within the four walls of their home. Yes, there are many challenges plaguing their opportunities, like the issue related to exploitation, harassment, and gender discrimination. But I am sure that we all encourage and support all the women around us to take up the profession of their choice. In this regard, that the Ministry of Women and Child Development of Government of India has also launched several programs and schemes for the upliftment and progress of women in the country, with the broad vision of having empowered women living with dignity and contributing as equal partners in the development in an environment free from violence and discrimination. Today, I feel happy to announce that TRC Bhopal is also striving for promoting and ensuring this extremely important focus on women empowerment through providing an appropriate platform at national level, where countless women are participating as coordinator, advisor, subject expert, mentor, and chief guest of different events organized by TRC Bhopal, and sharing their experiences, knowledge, and wisdom with countless individuals across the country and even abroad. The COA New Delhi is also striving to create adequate awareness about their rights while facilitating institutional and financial support for enabling them to realize their full potential as to express and spread their thoughts at the national level. In the last, I would say that we, as the citizen of country, as well as the descendants of glorious civilization, all should think, work, and support and promote for the welfare of all the women all around us all the time, so that every woman feels safe, secure, and equal in the society. Only then we shall be able to ensure that the world where we live can become a truly heavenly place. With this, I would say thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir, for informing about the contribution of COA-TRC Bhopal. Thank you once again. There are a few outstanding leaders and iconic personalities who have made significant contributions to the advancement of profession, both in industry and academics. We are blessed with the presence of one such influential person here. Dear participants, I take this opportunity to introduce today's chief guest, Architect Habib Khan, President COA. Architect Habib Khan did his bachelor's in architecture from VNIT, formerly VRC, and master's in architecture design from the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. He worked in Philadelphia for a couple of years, then returned to India in 1990s and started his private practice. Architecture to him is a passion, total commitment, and something to enjoy and indulge in. He is fiercely committed to architecture being contextual and relevant. He believes that architecture shall be responsive to traditions, climate, context, and be environmentally and ecological responsible. His architecture is organic, traditional, contextual, and contemporary. His architectural practice mostly deals with campus design, institutions, and wildlife resort. Currently, he is working on the development project in the major temple precinct, amenities beside highway, convention, and exhibition centers. He is the recipient of multiple awards, to name a few: JIIA Best Design, Interior Design Award by IIA, IIKF Young Architects Award, the Orange City Achievement Award, and State Level Excellence in Architecture Education Award by IIM Maharashtra chapter. Recently, the firm was awarded with the prestigious INTBAU Excellent Award in 2018 for the large-scale promotion of traditional and vernacular architecture. And this particular is not at just the national level, but this award is at the global level. So at the Great Room at Royal Society of Arts, London, a big round of applause for this particular achievement of Sir. Architect Habib has been involved to many national and international conferences as a keynote speaker. Some of them are IIT NatCon at Nagpur, Raipur, IIID NatCon at Goa, Kolhapur, Indore, IIID Design at Yatra in 12 cities, and internationally he has represented at IAPS, Glasgow, Venice, and Budapest. Architect Habib Khan is also involved in academics. He has been taking guest lectures and engaging studios at different parts of the country, apart from being juries and examiner. Currently, he is director of architecture school in Nagpur and Mumbai. And not only this, the excellence can be seen in profession and academics. Architect Khan is an avid painter and has exhibited his paintings on Mahabharata, Ramayana, and Kabir. He also dabbles in poetry and has written songs on IIID NatCon Indore, Design Yatra, and IISM Anthem, and the theme song for the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao campaign, which truly addresses our topic also. Currently, he is President of Council of Architecture. So, we thank you for accepting our invitation to grace the occasion. Now, I kindly request today's chief guest, Architect Habib Khan, to address the audience with his wise words.
Thank you, Sarika, for the introduction. Namaskar, good afternoon, and warm greetings from the Council of Architecture. It's my great pleasure to be present amongst you all, especially on a platform which is a very collaborative platform with our co-professionals, the town planners, because the future of our profession, architectural or any other profession, is collaboration. Without collaboration, we cannot go ahead. The roadmap ahead has to be collaborative. And this is not the first time that I am here on this platform of the ITPI MRC in Nagpur. Thanks to my friend Dr. Kapse, who has been inviting me time and again. And I was looking forward to be present in my alma mater there. And but due to some work, I'm in Delhi and I couldn't make it in person. Dr. Vijay Kapse, Chairman of the ITPI MRC Nagpur. Dr. Navneet Munod, Honorary Director of COA-TRC Bhopal. My colleagues in the council, Ritu Singh and Minakshi Jain, thank you for your support in the council for whatever we're doing. Who are these two, Ritu and Minakshi, are also the speakers of today. And Dr. Alka and Mrs. Uma, resource persons of today. All the coordinators of the program, Dr. Sarika Bahadure, Dr. Smita Khan, and Dr. Vandana Khante, all the office bearers of the ITPI MRC Nagpur, audience, listeners, delegates, a warm welcome from Council of Architecture. Council of Architecture is a regulatory authority under the Ministry of Education, formulated under the 1972 Architects Act, and it regulates architectural profession and education. The TRC, Training and Research Centers of the Council, which are actively functioning across the country through, at the moment, COA-TRC Pune and COA-TRC Bhopal, being headed by Dr. Navneet Munod, who is doing a phenomenal job as an honorary director. And thank you, Navneet, for doing that selflessly and time and again, time after time. And I'm happy to tell you that we have been able to conduct short-term teachers training program, STTPs, FTPs, FDPs, and so on, workshops, symposiums, all online, sometime in hybrid mode, about 75 of them in the last year. This is basically to augment the teachers and the stakeholders who are involved not only in academics but also in profession. And this is hand-holding of the council, wherein we want to collectively improve the standards of architectural education and profession in our country. I'm also happy to announce that TRC Delhi at Okhla will be inaugurated very soon. The work is already underway. And Bangalore University has given us a land of 2 acres, and we are establishing a center of excellence in Bangalore on a 2-acre land. And we have just floated a competition for it. And the interesting part of the competition is that the competition is open to all architectural institutions as well. There is no limitation of number of entries that can come in. And the thought process at the council is to have an equitable, paritable, and a platform wherein every young architect can also participate and design the center of excellence, and not through certain criteria like turnovers or experience and things like that. So this is a phenomenal opportunity for everyone to get involved and showcase their talent, especially the institutions. And I'm also happy to inform you that till date we have received about 400 registrations, and we expect around 500 entries to come in. We have extended the date of registration to 7th of April, and I'm looking forward to VNIT and other institutions in Nagpur and all over the country to come forward and participate in this competition. The role of TRC is very critical. We are trying to expand the role of the TRCs, and I'm sure you all are seeing the difference in the quality of teaching that is happening in the country and in the quality of students that are being produced through the system. Women in architecture and planning play a very critical role. And why do they play a critical role? Some statistics Sarika had already given. We had done a survey recently, last year, where about 46% are women architects registered with the council, and the balance is men, 54%. But our projection based on the trends of registration and the enrollment of students, the figure is going to go up in the next 5 years to 60% of registered architects as women and 40% men in the next coming 5 years. Now, out of this 46% at the moment, 50% are married and 49% are unmarried, which shows us the trend that the girls who have just graduated, the number is increasing. And the most surprising part of the whole thing is that they don't want their children to go into the same profession. 74% women say they don't want their kids or children to follow the same profession of architecture, while 6% say yes. And the status at the moment, 19% are practicing architects, 19% are in academics, 4% are in partnership with their husbands, 22% of women are employed in some firm or some company, while 34% of women architects do nothing. They are housewives or are not involved in the profession of architecture, which is a very alarming trend. Now, when this becomes 60% or more in the next 5 years, I'm sure the percentage of women who are not involved into profession will also increase. So this is a trend which needs to be addressed. This is a real serious problem which not only the council but other professional organizations like the ITPI and the IIA and IIIT will also face gradually. To me, like Navneet has said, women are the mainstay of any civilization, any culture, any tradition, any heritage. Without the participation of women, these things cannot be preserved or continued. We all know that our society, our Indian civilization and Indian culture has sustained the importance of women in society. In fact, most of our gods and goddesses are women, whether it is Durga, Kali, Ma Tara, so many of them are women, and we worship them. But unfortunately, the present society does not perceive women to be strong. Women, to me, have always been strong and the mainstay of a man's life, of everyone's life. But the society doesn't perceive them as strong or having strength. And it is up to us to find out why this is so. And it is the effort that we need to make. It is the policies that we need to make, wherein we are able to make the society acknowledge and respond to the inherent quality of women which exist, irrespective whether they are architects, planners, engineers, or any other profession. And I'm sure symposiums like this, conclaves and conferences like this, wherein you're trying to understand the opportunities and challenges for women in planning and architecture, will go a long way in framing the policies and a roadmap ahead, which will, be an eye-opener to all of us in the profession. And I want to change the perception, because there are a lot of proverbs, sayings that behind every successful man there's a woman, or behind every successful woman there's a man. But I think is my strong belief that behind we have 4 successful women sharing their experiences with us today, and I'm sure behind every successful woman there is a woman. There is no one else. It is the struggle that the woman faces, that the successful entrepreneur, professional faces, and it is her own standing and her own dedication and strength which takes her to the success level that she is at the moment. And I'm sure the symposium is being recorded and it will go into our archives. We are making an archive called samarthya.in and samarthya.org, which will be an online archive of all the training programs that have happened, all the publications, all the journals. We're trying to link all the libraries being digitized and being linked together. And we are also having an online at demand 24/7 teaching modules for the fresh faculties who have just joined in. If you see the 2020 regulations mandates 3 months of essential training to fresh faculties. And all that will be available on samarthya.org, which was officially approved by the council recently and will be launched very shortly by the month end. Thank you once again, ITPI, for giving me this opportunity. And COA-TRC, Navneet, thank you so much for once again inviting me. It is my own program, it is my own function, my own platform, but it still is an honor to be amongst all of you and a pleasure to be amongst all of you. I hope you'll have meaningful deliberations and you will learn from the experiences of all the 4 resource persons today and take back home valuable inputs. And we will learn from all the 4 how to make policies ahead. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for providing a platform for women and encouraging us to various leadership roles. Thank you once again, sir. We now move to the technical sessions. Ladies and gentlemen, today in this program, we have the privilege of listening to eminent speakers who will intervene and discuss their research and ideas on the theme of the event. We have tried to identify the key speakers from diverse yet connected arena. We wanted to have an interaction on planning and architecture, emphasizing both academics and professions. We were lucky enough to have renowned women speaker with us today. Ma'am, we thank you for accepting our invitation and gracing the occasion.
Sarika, Dr. Sarika. It's fine?
Yeah, I'm just introducing you.
Okay.
So, sharing this presentation. Yeah. Our first speaker is Dr. Alka Bharat, Professor, Department of Architecture and Planning, MANIT, Bhopal. I take this opportunity to introduce Dr. Alka Bharat. Dr. Alka Bharat is an architect, planner, and researcher. She is a professor in the Department of Architecture and Planning, MANIT, Bhopal, with an experience of about 33 years in academic and research. She is also formally groomed in the areas of economics, environment, natural resources, and human rights. She has held a position of head of the department and Dean FW in the institute. Her areas of interest and specializations are spatial planning, architecture, economics, natural resources, environmental, and human rights. She has more than 60 presentations and 80 publications on national and international platforms. She has contributed to multiple chapters and many books. She has traveled widely to many countries. She's an expert advisory committee member, keynote speaker, mentor, chairperson, and panelist at many national and international platforms. Ma'am has guided more than 150 UG, PG, and PhD scholars. She is associate editor and reviewer to few international journals of repute. She is a co-person for Women's Wing of ITPI and is India's representative to the Commonwealth Association of Planners Women Wing. A big round of applause for this particular achievement at the international level. Thank you. Today, ma'am is going to give us her expert input on the topic of balancing the bias. Ma'am, I kindly request you to present the lecture and bless us with a new pool of knowledge. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Sarika. I'll just start with sharing my screen. Is my screen in front of you? Is my screen in front of you?
No, ma'am.
It's not. I'll just let's make it. Fine?
Yeah, it is opening.
Okay.
Yeah, it's there. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Sarika. It's always pleasure to share whatever I have gathered or whatever I have come across during my journey as a student, as a professional, and as a facilitator. I consider myself more as a facilitator. Today, I just tried to, and it's an attempt to understand, is the bias still exist? Can we balance the bias? Are we having some possibilities of understanding the bias and handling it? So just taking this small infographic in front of you. This is how indifferently a male is described as who has lots of competition in himself, is thrilled about something, while a female is usually considered as a calm, as something who is very quiet. That's good. Because unless and until we have something to balance, I think we cannot make the system move. So just quickly moving through, I've tried it, the complete process, as facts, few facts. Most of the facts have very nicely been presented by Dr. Sarika, by architect Habib, Dr. Navneet, and so many other platforms and resources have tried to bring about certain facts to support that there is a difference. I don't call it as a bias. There is a difference there in using these facts. Can there be some awareness to what the society has already put in place for an individual as well as the community to pick from it? Few inspirations with or without support. And that is it, what I think will definitely sensitize all of us. So it's a small attempt. Very quickly, I just started as soon as I just got this invitation. I just tried to look into from where did this inequality or difference I can find from the history, quite surprisingly, you will also find, I could find one 615 BC reference of a Greek poet, Sappho, where she just wrote something about sexuality, where mere a general writing was primarily considered as a job of men. So I just stopped exploring it because I then got this idea of it can be considered as woven within the society since we got civilized. So it's more of a social phenomena. It's more of a psychological aspect which we should consider, which is very empirically grounded within our life systems therein. There are few extreme references of some historic fascists, which today in few countries like Germany, Italy, Croatia, where women were primarily considered as function for domestic and reproduction. So these are only few, but I think at the back of any type of inequality, there has to be some propagation of thoughts, some acceptance of maybe some thinkers' views, some opinions, some researchers, which the acceptability of it comes to more than an individual's understanding. That is very, very harmful. And I think we are just moving through that phase. So let's see why people, they just want it to be a patriarchal society. Because few of those who tried to rein the system, who tried to control the system, they seek, which was usually a bit apprehensive to make it which is. So it, which was men, they wanted, or they have seek security and status by ensuring the society remains a patriarchal society. Now, with this as a very grounded thought within the system, it's not confined to Indian Peninsula. It is covering the whole world. This is a very small infographic on gender inequality, moving from dark red towards green. Very happy to share, we can find there are lots of green. That is, whatever efforts have been taken, whatever impetus has been given to this thought is now bearing fruits. So we should not also keep ourselves holding. We should not keep ourselves just watching, but be part of this green patch. Now, this green patch, how can we? Dr. Manod, as well as architect Habib, has just now referred to women are worshipped in India. Let me put it, India is a land of paradoxes. Yes, we worship goddess on one side, but on the other, few statistics, they don't support the intention with which it is done. Few statistics like low sex ratio, number of missing girls. This is a point of concern and worry. And the girl child facing challenges in achieving quality education. This is only few which I think is contextual to today's talk and the meeting that is happening, or activity that is happening. So just referring to one world population report, India is 924 women per thousand. I'm not putting it as a bad one because we moved from somewhere 400s to 900. So it's an upward trend. Very, very wishful one. That is, we are moving towards the equality we have, but the point of concern still lies with missing girls. We are 1 out of every 3 missing girls in the world. So there is always an attempt, but till it gives result, we always worry on that aspect. I'm sure the system, the bureaucracy, the legislative system, all are putting their effort to just remove this from this particular scale, India's name. And I'm hopeful we will do it fast. So there's just a very quick moving through and touching upon few of the discriminations which are usually pointed out, few of which we can address too as an individual, as a community, and as even a more group of people. But still there's few discriminations about religion, age, economic status, disability, and so, but we have tools to handle it. We have tools to handle human rights, and very exclusively human rights for women. That does not mean that the other better part of the society, that is men, they are left out. Definitely not. And I am, as a person, does not ever approve of any type of inequality being handled through some biased tools. So it's more of an equality. Let's talk about human rights. But still, because we have to have some efforts to bring this segment of society at par with the other part of society. So there are few human rights. I'll be just very quickly going through it. So just putting these few in front of you, what is it? It's more of mindset and spaces, mental space, social space, and physical space. We look for equality as well as empowerment. So as I have mentioned initially, this is my small attempt to sensitize through awareness and inspiration. And I'm very sure I will be definitely able to achieve what I'm trying to do through this wonderful platform and the opportunity has been given to me through ITPI and COA. Thanks to both these bodies. At the international level, UN Chartered mentions about or have some articles which are pro some segment of society which are marginalized, which are not given that much importance to. So UN Charter Article 1 speaks of when UN has Commission on the Status of Women, that also takes care of it. These are only few of the mentions which I am making. Then with UNDHR, this is a very good attempt by all the signatories through Universal Declaration of Human Rights to mention all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. So there should not be any distinctions of any kind, maybe race, color, sex, language, religion, and and many more. So there should not be. So this is few of these are few of the attempts at the international platform with very strong agencies, with very acceptable platforms. Most of the countries accepting to this, signatories to this. We have UN Women, which is again an arm of UN working dedicatedly to women. I'll definitely at this point would refer to a very good movement, he for she. So this is what is happening around the world. So I don't say that efforts, we are lacking in efforts. Definitely, we are not lacking in efforts. But all the results will definitely take it, because everything takes has its pace to move. There are few challenges and few acceptabilities, so we are not far away where we will definitely have a very inclusive, a very sensitive and society. We definitely have a very sensitive society even at present, but that will be more visible, that will be more vocal in times to come. We have already seen an International Women's Year, UN Decade for Women, and SDG has a very dedicated goal 5, which talks about achieving gender equality very exclusively through empowering all women and girls. Indian Constitution, coming to our national effort, Indian Constitution that dictates the system we are having through its preamble, through its different fundamental rights, duties, and directives have incorporated, have tried to touch upon this very important issue and made it very clear. The attempt is very clear, their intention is very clear of upliftment of all those segments, all those part of society which have been in past were bearing some ills of discrimination. So we have Article 14 to talk about it, Article 15, 1 and 2, Article 19, 21, 39A, 39D, 42, 51AE, and lots of articles with subheads referring to this aspect of giving importance to the inequality if it exists in the society. So there is no dearth of efforts. There is a holistic effort from the political system, from the bureaucratic system. So it's the awareness that is just maybe at times not even lacking, but bit apprehensions of how to make use of it. For that, government has initiated few a national policy for women, and within two great policies, two ambitious policies of Government of India through National Education Policy and Skill India program, they have given much weightage to all girls, to all segments of society, to take this opportunity to groom themselves, to empower themselves, to introspect and look into the potentials therein. This is where the second step has come. That is another efforts to this. There are many programs, but there are certain barriers to education which have been brought forth at different platforms many times, like poverty, lack of safe and private spaces for girls, violence, distance to schools, not very safe areas to move through, gender inequalities. There are many grassroots organizations, government organizations, non-government organizations, community efforts which are going on selflessly to bring all these barriers, to remove these barriers and just let girl be educated. Kudos to the efforts which are going on. In this attempt of all these formal, constitutional, and other policy efforts, many programs, many dedicated programs for girls and females are being floated by Government of India, by different states, by different union territories, and most of them are getting or reaching to the targets with which they have. So women empowerment through these programs, we have lots of programs by Ministry of Women and Child, as mentioned by Dr. Navneet, and then other ministries also within their mandates, they are trying to touch upon these aspects and make this society strong and very inclusive. It's working. Now with these efforts, we can see lots of girls, lots of dedications, and age is no bar. Everywhere there is sensitization, there is ripple, there is energy with which all segments, all age group, there is no barrier, which most of the barriers, I will not say no barriers, but most of the barriers are being addressed, and then girls, women, and even men are supporting the better part of the society, the other part of the society, to be there on the same platform with same skills and dignity therein. So some agencies, to pick one, UNICEF is doing a lot of work. They have two very programmatic approaches where they talk about specific priorities for girls, and the certain results they have integrated or in different fields where they try to help them through resources, building their capacities, make them accountable. And the third step the UNICEF has is institutional. They have, and they are working on the structure of institutions also. It's not empirically, it's not only theoretically, it's not only preaching one, it's the action through their efforts which they are trying to have it. So formally they have also, and they are working, this is only one. There are many efforts which are being done. They are making their efforts, they are dovetailing their research, their support institutionally. And this is how this can strengthen the voice, this can give the platform to the voices, and then address to whatever discrimination. I think we are just at the fag end of using this term inequality. We'll move further with the term equality. I always love to use the term equality and supports equality rather than inequality. Now, with this bit of awareness, which I have tried to present before you across international to the national efforts, to the grassroots efforts, there are certain still gray areas which needs to be tightened. A few screws are yet to be tightened. Yes, let's not lose the hope. We have moved a lot, and then the target is just in front of us. After that's taken case of Australia, considering it as one of the top country where there is gender equality therein. So a very comprehensive infographic giving that information where women and male are placed therein. So it says that 68% of women, Australian women, are there in primary careers, 70 in unpaid, primary unpaid careers, and 58% in primary unpaid careers for elderly. Earlier it was for children. So there is a very, I'll say we just have to have 100-meter dash. We are just there near the line, finish line that is there. So let's keep momentum going. Let's have energy. We are just there to have a very balanced society. With this awareness, let's have few inspirations. To mention just one quote by Jean Lauren, the director of BNP Paribas. Most of you who are interested in sports, you must have seen the advertisement by this in most of the arenas there. No woman should be deprived of her ability to contribute to a better world. Yes, the effort is to induce, to support a girl, a woman, to explore the most within her, to introspect, to bring her energy out for the best of it. So we are trying to aspire towards gender neutral system. So apart from earlier what it was maternity leave, then paternity leave, now let's have a parental leave. That is it. Now, so there are a few small attempts, small efforts at different places which are reaching to. Few inspirations. I have few of the frames where each and every domain of society, of different fields, we have lots of women who have had their positions, impressions therein. Let's just quickly move through it. You will find that, yes, each and every corner of the world, as well as different domains, we have left our footprints. So I've just tried to have few figures, few photographs of some known figures in different ones. Madam Urmila Chaudhary, first architect, maybe could be controversial, but if the resources are to be believed, so I've just put it. She was the member of the team who designed, who worked for Chandigarh. Such a great job at that time, when I think it was otherwise not that open, not that inclusiveness in the society. So let's start just following, just putting ourselves, following the footsteps of these great ladies who, against all odds, if they were there, were able to make a successful impression. These are few architects and planners with photographs. So we have few black and white photographs. This gives the period when they were there in. Few sports personalities, few of them I have selected because there's a notion that these are male-dominated sports. To add, just Mithali Raj has today in World Cup had made a century there. So there is in every field of sports also, which otherwise used to be conventionally called as or considered as male dominant, we are leaving our impression. This has nothing to do as a competition with male, but just as an inspiration for today's activity, for today's context. I have just put them. Hats off to other contributions by male sports persons as well, and male professionals and philosophers. They are few of Indian women scientists, Tessie Thomas, who is a missile woman of India. We have these so many scientists who have worked during a time when it was again a male dominated activity, considered to be male dominated. We have lots of female giving their impressions, leaving their impressions, contributing a lot in arts, in corporates, in political arena. Everywhere we have social movements, like we have Gulabi Gang, Pinjratur, and then some movements which were there during a pre-independence period as well. So just see where we are lacking. We are not lacking. We are equally placed. We are strong enough. We are competent enough. But the point is, we just have to be strong by ourselves. This is what architect Habib has also just now mentioned, that we have to see that how we can push ourselves, how we can demonstrate the best we have. We don't lack in. So let's see. We should not think of about inequality, but we should be thinking of equality of women and men, not as disintegrated part of society, but as a whole, that is humanity, without any distinctions. This is what has been said by President of Finland. So gender equality advancements, it ripples all effect on different developments, on different aspects of development, reducing poverty, hunger, and to add to and touch upon different dimensions we are worried of today. So if we have, there is a pursuit of gender equality in education, employment, public life, entrepreneurship. We have to see that this equality is and retains, exist in an individual, remains there till society, moving through home and workspace as it. So with these at different levels, if we start respecting, introducing this term of equality, will definitely have compound effects of this. We will have economic system getting strengthened and improving upon social systems. There are so many rationale that supports it, right? So I'm just making use of the inferences out of different researches. So we have to move from individual to group to community, and then just holding hands together without any discrimination as male, female, 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 male, female, male, male. Everybody, all permutation, combination, just to support the society, to strengthen the society. Now, just to end everything, a very small story of me as an individual. I just moved through a process. Most of you who must have read my a very brief story. Last year, I have written it to ITPI. Moving from a small kid to a professional My journey was full of roses and thorns. I'm not here to mention about thorns, but yes, there are thorns. And whose life is full of all roses? Nobody's. So it's always ups and downs with anybody's life. So there were lots of rejections, support, and strength. When I was born, it was long back, 5 decades back, when a girl's child, otherwise, as a general notion in the society, was not very accepted one. But I was very privileged. I'm very happy to share with you. I got such a good support and all gaga from my family. As a baby girl, my birth was celebrated, not very common happening at that time. When I went to school, had a education in a co-education school, but when I was shifted to a school which just was supposed to be a better school than where I was studying, it just started with a co-education. Used to be a boys' school. There were lots of, be careful of this, do it like this, keep yourself safe. So there came some thought in me, is it so? Is there something which, as a person, it's just a person, I have to take care of it? God substantiated when I grew during this complete process. Yes, it is with one of my selection where there was some not very undercurrent, but there was statement that girls are not to be selected, right? So there was on this notion, the selection was made for male candidates only. No issues. You can see where I am. So I'm just here to tell you, skill yourself, design your roadmap, and define your heights. Construct your scale for yourself. Do not evaluate yourself through some other calibrated scale of somebody else. There is still some part of the society that has an expectation as a puppet support, a dumb support, or virtual representation. Please say no to it. Make yourself strong that you can stand to it, you can stand to values, you can stand to your aspirations and achieve everything. I'll just leave you with very strong 2 frames. A few days back, I have used one frame. I love that frame. The other one is very close to me. So just saying that road is there, directions are shown. Let's walk on it. We should work as a unified, empowered society with gender neutrality. Let's not use measures to create another problems. That is, let's not use measures of handling inequality. Let's use it as balancing through equality, not inequality.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Just 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes.
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
Right. So let's not use all measures that creates all problems. So let's not use discrimination or division. Have a unified one. Let's have embrace equality, no to inequality. Anything that is there to divide and widen social gaps should not be embraced there. There should be equality, not the selection through rejections, they are saying. So, mentioning or having a quote by Emma Watson, it's time that we should see gender as a spectrum instead of 2 sets of opposing ideas. Now, this is such a strong frame, which I want you to be inspired with and keep in your memories. Somebody very humble, very basic background, a rural background, not too educated. I don't call it as no educated, very well educated. Maybe does not have pieces of papers in form of degrees, but yes, educated. Reaching from the basic roots to the steps of Rashtrapati Bhavan, trying to bless Rashtrapati ji. Now, these are such strong figures. Who are these? These are females. These are part of the society. So we do have, and we have potential in ourselves. Let's see. Now, this is a very emotional frame. They are physically challenged. Physically, somewhere they have some inabilities, but standing at a platform where they make our country, we all, too proud of them. So if they, with these inabilities, with some deficits, can stand on these platforms, why not all of us? All, that is all, men, women, everybody. It's the efforts we have to put. It's, we have to introspect our potential, skill yourself, try to empower yourself. That is it. That makes the society strong. So when many women raise their voices and each and every of us takes action, the world can change without any doubt. Yes, that's very true. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much, ITPI COA, for giving me this platform.
Thank you, ma'am, for the wonderful lecture and blessing us with a new pool of knowledge on the topic balancing the bias. Thank you once again. All the participants are requested to write the questions in the chat box if they have any. The question answer sessions will be taken up after the keynote address of all the speakers. Okay. I take this opportunity to introduce our next speaker, Architect Uma Adusumilli, former Chief Planner, MMRDA, Mumbai. Architect Uma received an Indian European architect education. She obtained a bachelor's degree in architecture from JNTU Hyderabad and master's degree from SPU New Delhi. Later, she received a master's of science in urban housing management from Europe. From 1989 to 2004, Architect Uma worked as an urban planner with SIDCO on planning and development of Navi Mumbai, an ecologically and socially responsive development where she was able to fully apply her national and international experience. Architect Uma also represented India in international comparative research project, to name a few, research on housing for low-income groups between 1995 and 2004. From 2004 to 2021, Uma ma'am was heading the Regional Planning Division of Mumbai Metropolitan Regional Development Authority, which is also known as MMRDA. She also had several other portfolios during her tenure at MMRDA. She retired recently in February 2021 and moved to Vijayawada. I myself got an opportunity to listen to her at ITPI Congress in Mumbai, and I learned a lot from her in a very short span of time. To add a few, my younger sister also worked with her at MMRDA, and she always praised the way ma'am was working and creating the very beautiful environment at the office workplace. So, ma'am, I kindly request you to present your lecture on the topic Environment for Women's Participation at Workplaces.
Thank you, Sarika. And thank you all for giving me this opportunity post my retirement to speak on a very relevant occasion like this to all of us. I do not have any presentation. I would like to just speak out of my own experience. To start with, my experience is totally in the field of planning. I have never practiced, even though I have a degree, I have never practiced as an architect. So I don't really claim to represent architects. I perceive in general that the education of architecture and planning holds a good proportion of girls in the planning and architecture schools right from my time. And compared to my times, in the current times, these girls, like their counterpart boys, are relatively from better off backgrounds, well-off backgrounds. So they do not have the same disadvantages that we had studying 40 years ago. And the induction of planners into a government or private office is at a good level, good entry level. Therefore, they have a sound starting point wherever they are working. And they are in their own educational background, they are very much used to synthesizing information, presenting it well, arguing, and supporting their own line of argument and designs and plans. Therefore, I think the profession of planning gives the female planners a good position to start with. They are not like they do not have the same disadvantages that some other professionals or some other staff members have. And my experience of working in government as a planner at various levels for over 32 years has shown that generally women planners are extremely sensitive, in the sense that they pay attention to the last detail when they are working on plans, and they also would like to finish a job and then go home. This was my experience. They don't leave a job unfinished. I do not know amongst the participants if there is any participant who has worked with me over, like Sarika's sister. they might agree with me. And I also saw that they come out with a lot of creative ideas compared to their male counterparts. And their participation in group works and field visits are no less than any male planners. This was my observation. And generally, I have not seen female planners ever complaining about late hours when the work demands that they sit late. The only times I have seen them utilizing the official concessions allowed was during their pregnancies, during their miscarriages, and during their child rearing kind of time periods when it is really required. Except those times, I don't think female planners have sought any other kind of relaxation from their work. When I started my career in government in 1989 in CIDCO, there were very few planners, female planners in CIDCO. In fact, in 2004, when I joined MMRDA also, there were very few. There was just one other female. Even though the times were different, the field was in government, the field was a bit male-dominated. The male planners' reaction within the departments to female planners was a kind of little surprise in terms of certain activities. Like, for example, when I joined office in 1989 and I wanted to have lunch with my other colleagues, they were a bit horrified. They said, no, we'll find other female architects and social scientists, etc., who can have lunch with you. So that's a kind of bit of surprise reaction. But apart from those non-work related, directly work related associations, everything else was absolutely on equal basis. Maybe because we are planners, and that's the way we are probably through the planning schools. And there were no other surprises. And some of the, what do we say, inequality that I faced was not on account of my gender, but a lot of it was on account of where I came from, being a non-local. That was the issue, but it was never on account of gender when I joined. So when I look back now and see what is the what is the reception of women and opportunities available to them, the environment available at workplaces. I can only talk about government sector because that's where I work. What are the chances where they meet these opportunities? One is when you join, whether there is a welcoming atmosphere in the office. I think for planners, it's at entry level, it's a pretty good atmosphere. I have never seen anything different, but it's not the same when you move ahead in the organization. At the entry level, yes. When you start moving ahead, the reaction slightly starts changing, both from your superiors and your subordinates and your colleagues. The cordial nature starts shifting slightly, and if you surpass them through promotions or selections, then it becomes a bit hostile. And the hostility is expressed in a very different way. For example, I would be called madam till that time, and I would be called Uma thereafter. There are very subtle things, and then you are reminded a few times that there are female planners are maybe slightly different. So suddenly you become a female planner to them, and they start reminding you of these things. These are very unless you really begin to notice the difference, you don't see the difference in attitude. And conditions within our own departments and within the entire larger offices where I worked in very large offices. There would be, the office itself will have certain stereotyping of women employees, whether you are a planner or you are a peon. The stereotyping goes to the extent of, it's not with any bad intention, probably it's the local stereotyping. For example, somebody would be told, how can I give you maternity leave because your surname has not changed after your marriage. So this is so insulting. It's so ignorant comment. It's a very insulting comment. And these kind of comments will have to be dealt with. And then there are also stereotyping, like if there's an event, irrespective of your profession, you are invited to give the bouquet to the dignitaries on the dais. And not only that, you are told a day before to come well dressed. These are extremely stereotyping kind of attitudes in government offices. Not that all girls object to these kind of things, but I would certainly object. Then a third type of stereotyping is while allotting the nature of assignments. Within the departments, of course, you don't really see any difference. All assignments and tasks are equally divided. But when the office holds certain meetings and has decorum at some places, and they have to assign some larger tasks within the organization, then there would be some kind of stereotyping. Oh, this job cannot be assigned to Uma because she is a female. So that you feel there is a very subtle way of showing these things. And if you are sensitive, you perceive the differences and you feel a bit discriminatory. But considering the overall discrimination that's there in the world, overall inequality at macro level to micro level that Madam Alka has just explained, these are probably very minor. But since I'm talking about the experience at workplace, I'm able to cite these. And what do we experience in the offices as women is at times vulnerabilities are taken advantage of. So therefore, if there is a conflict in the office, if there is a conflict with your superiors, conflict with your subordinates, conflict with your colleagues, conflict with the unions within the office, employees unions, some of the manifestations, when they can't win an argument, some of the manifestations of or outcomes of a conflict are, let's say, making derogatory remarks about you as a female. This happens very frequently. For example, whenever I ended up in conflict, there would be posters about me, depicting me specifically as a female. How did she get promotion last time? Where did she come from? these are intimidation techniques. So gender is used in a very, very sensitive way to kind of destabilize you, to make you feel vulnerable. It's attempted to make you feel vulnerable. And these are the experiences that I generally notice. And I also headed a unit of 40 to 100 people at times, and for a long period of close to 20 years. So administration of a unit, being a female, has certain additional tools required to deal with staff. So these cannot be explained properly in detailed terms, but then there is a difference when you being a female head a department. And then coming to my own personal background, I'm not explaining my background because I've experienced very little gender discrimination in my entire career, except when there were conflicts and where a deliberate attempt was made to make me feel vulnerable. Otherwise, I was very fortunate, and probably I was very fortunate to spend 35 years in public service and not feel very intimidated. One of the reasons is that my upbringing, as Alka madam mentioned, I also had a very fortunate progressive upbringing. And my professional background, as I already mentioned, planners and architects are, I think, a little better off than some other professionals in terms of their education and professional offices. And I am unmarried, so I have no immediate family. That also helped me feeling less vulnerable. And I worked in large but good government offices, so that also reduced my exposure to certain bad experiences. And I had good colleagues. Most of them were planners. Based on my own experience of 35 years, I would like to give some small advice. This is my last part of what I'm saying, is to my female colleagues at workplaces, is please, if you have vulnerabilities, do not expose them, do not exhibit them, because they are immediately taken advantage of by others. And do expect that there will be conflicts. Do expect that you will face a different atmosphere because you are a female. There will be some difference, and therefore be prepared to deal with it in your own way. Be prepared to argue, fight, discuss, report anything that is very derogatory, and don't hesitate in reporting, fighting an argument, registering complaints, and discussing it in groups loudly. And do not seek favors. Generally seek favors only when it is really essential. Otherwise, citing that you are a female, don't seek favors in general. And lastly, think equal and be equal. This is my last advice. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I don't know if I sounded relevant, but this is all I could say. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Further moving, I take this opportunity to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Minakshi, former director, SPAV. Former director, SPAV, professor and dean, NIT Hamirpur. Professor Minakshi Jain is an architect with specialization in landscape architecture and sustainable development. She has an experience of more than 28 years in both academics and industry. She has been professor since 2007. She has been titled landscape. She had been author of a book titled Landscape Architecture, History, Ecology and Patterns, and has published 40 research paper and book chapters. Her another book is Architecture of Ridges and Valleys and Beliefs and Realities. She was recipient of Best Faculty Award for year 2006 and 7, instituted by National Institute of Technology, Hamirpur. She got distinction
Distinguished Alumni Award from SPA Delhi in October 2019. Her tenure in SPA Vijayawada was selected as the best planning institute across the country. She also got eight NIRF ranking for her college. Ma'am, we are thankful for accepting our invitation, and I kindly request you to present your lecture on topic developing leadership and empowering women in architecture, which is need of an hour.
Thank you so much, Sarika. And it's my pleasure to be the part of this symposium. The topic of the symposium is opportunity and challenges for women in planning and architecture profession. And I'm very pleased that the chief guest of this program is my senior architect Habib Khan, who has already deliberated in a very big way. And Dr. Vijay Kapse is a part of this. He is also my colleague. He's the chairman ITPI Maharashtra Regional Chapter in Nagpur. Dr. Navneet Munot, he is also associated with me. He's the director, honorary director, Training and Research Center, Bhopal. And the Women Achievers, Professor Alka Bharat, MANIT Bhopal, Mrs. Uma. She's a former chief planner, MMRDA, Mumbai. Architect Ritu Singh, practicing architect, Jaipur. And coordinators of this program are my dear friend, Dr. Smita Khan, Dr. Sarika Bahadre, and Professor Vandana Kante. Today, this is a joint program which is being collaborated with the Institute of Town Planners India, Maharashtra Regional Chapter, and Training and Research Center, Council of Architecture, Bhopal. And my topic for this is developing leadership and empowering women in organizations. So I shall be speaking on the women empowerment and the leadership mainly. And as already has been said enough, that women across the nation or across the world itself, they are very less empowered as compared to their male counterparts. And they are underprivileged as per the UNDP report. And we have to do something. Like, the women over here, they are all empowered, they are all settled well, but we have already taken some lessons from our historic women, and then we have taken that legacy, and then we have to move forward, and we have to leave for our daughters also the same thing. Now I'll be sharing the presentation. Is my screen visible? Is my screen visible, Sarika?
Not yet, ma'am.
No, not as yet.
Okay. Wait 1 second.
Yes, ma'am, your screen is visible now.
Okay. Yeah, now?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Okay. According to the World Economic Forum, sadly, none of us will see gender parity in our lifetimes, nor many of our children. This is the situation across the world, that we will not be able to see, neither it is available today, the gender parity, and nor it will be available for more than a century, and many of our children will not be able to see the gender equality. Even UNDP says the women all over the world, they are underprivileged and they are less empowered as compared to their male counterparts. Every year, International Women's Day is celebrated on March 8th, and this is there to spread the message of gender equality and working together towards a better society so that there is no gender bias. And incidentally, this year also, for the year 22, the theme of the day was Gender Equality Today for a Sustainable Tomorrow. International Women's Day is celebrated basically to discuss and to celebrate the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women. And further, it is also to pay our gratitude towards the women, for all the women, because in general, in particular, they are developing the society. Overall, they are the nation builders. We have the two types of women, as I already said, historic women and the women of 21st century. And I already said my speakers earlier that now we are enjoying the freedom and power than ever before. But there was few historical women who changed the way the world is viewed today. Our grandmoms and the mother, they have already given us a strong platform wherein like so many issues, we just take it for granted. The right to want to study, the right to do the job, the right to marry someone of our choice, the right to take the decision on behalf of our children, whom we bring this to this world. All of these decisions, like, they were not easy. They must have faced lots of battle. They must have fought lots of battle for giving us this legacy, and now we have to internalize this legacy and we have to move forward. And such historical women included Susan B. Anthony for granting the women to write, Jackie Joyner-Kersee for introducing women into the Olympics, Helen Keller for educating the world about women with disabilities. Susan B. Anthony, she was the leader of the suffrage movement. Earlier, even in the developed countries, the right to vote for the women was not there. And Susan B. Anthony, she led the movement of National Women Suffrage Association, and she paved the way for the 19th Amendment to the Constitution of USA for enabling the women to right to vote. USA emerged as an independent country in 1789, but this milestone of enabling the women to get the right to vote, the bill was passed by Congress in June 4th, 1919, and it was ratified in August 18, 1920. So this, I'm talking about the most developed countries of the world. So how can we say? I mean, the male were having the right to vote, but the female did not have. And it really required long and lengthy, difficult struggle where the women came for the protest. You can see in these photographs, the women came for the protest, and this movement was led by Anthony Susan. So the 19th Amendment of the Constitution granted the women the right to vote, and the 19th Amendment to the United States Constitution prohibits the states and the federal government from denying the right to vote for citizens of the United States on the basis of the sex. It was adopted on August 18, 1920. Now I'm talking about the UK. Even the British women, till 1980, they did not have the right to vote. Only the women who were owning the property and they were above the age of 30, they had the right to vote. And it started from 1918. And it took another decade before the women won the same voting right as that of men. Only until 1928, a decade later, another law was passed which allowed the women to become at par, so that they are able to vote at the age of 21 as their male counterparts. So we have another story of Eleanor Roosevelt. She was responsible for drafting the UN Universal Declaration of Human Rights, where the Article 1 said, all men are born free and equal in dignity and rights, which I think Alka Bharat also said the same thing. And everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security of person. I missed out some point in Article 1, all men. Eleanor Roosevelt, she was the first lady of USA, and for 12 years, she remained working as the first lady because her husband was the president of United States of America, and she acted as a delegate of United Nations General Assembly. She also served as the chairperson for Commission on Human Rights, and she was instrumental in drafting the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And because of her, she brought the change as all men are born free and equal. But whereas Hansa Mehta of India, she is widely credited today because of her phrase was being changed from all men are born equal and free and equal to all human beings are born free and equal. See, this is from there itself only, the feminism and those kind of issues and the equality, it started that we are not equal. The struggle has been a century old already. Now, what is feminism? Feminism started in the late 19th century. Feminism is about all genders having equal rights and opportunities. It's about respecting diverse women's experiences, identities, knowledge and strength, and striving to empower all women to realize their full rights. But whereas the millennial G.T. Anderson is 93 born, she's a 21st century woman, She started telling, feminism isn't about making women strong. Women are already strong. It's about changing the way the world perceives that strength. So you can understand the difference between the historic women, the feminism definition itself was changed. And this became, this very proverb, this phrase was being used globally during the women's marches in 2016, USA. Again, it was being used where a lot of women came for the protest against the government at that point of time. So there were a lot of protests happening in USA whenever anything happens against the women. So we have in India very extraordinary women. Sushmita Sen, she won the beauty pageant in 1994. When she was asked in the beauty pageant, the last question won her this coveted pageant, this title. When she was asked, what is the essence of a woman? She said, the origin of a child is a mother, a woman. She shows a man without what sharing, caring, and loving is all about. That is the essence of the women. Certainly, extraordinary women who dare to bring gender equality and other issues to the forefront, from overcoming oppression to breaking the stereotypes to reimagine the world. Other women whom we all owe a lot of respect is Indra Nooyi. She's an Indian-American entrepreneur and business executive who was instrumental in the restructuring and diversification of soft drink manufacturing PepsiCo. She broke the ceiling to enter into the soft drink manufacturing PepsiCo. She also brought the diversification in the PepsiCo. She started the health drinks, and the PepsiCo grew up from the revenue of $35 million to $63 million. And she was the CEO of a largest corporation of USA from 2006 to 18, and the chairperson of the board from 2007 to 19. And because of her efforts to work so much and to bring the corporate into the forefront, Forbes magazine, it's a business magazine of USA, she stood second most powerful women in 2017, and thereafter in 2019, she won the third place. And we owe a lot of respect for her. Priyanka Chopra, an Indian actress, model and singer, the winner of Miss World 2000 pageant. She also was declared because of her various kind of activities. She did a lot of work for the environment, women's right, and she was very vocal about the gender equality and the gender gap, pay gap, and feminism. And she also was being counted from the Times, the 100 most influential people in the world, and the next 2 years later, she was also listed in the 100 most powerful women as per the Forbes business magazine as well. Now we can see them visually. What is their mantra? For Priyanka Chopra, work hard, stay focused, and be committed. Most often then you will come on the top. And she says, feminism is not about berating or hitting men or disliking or trying to make sure we are better than men. It is nothing about that. Need for feminism was created because there was no right for women. That's why there is not a manism, because they always had it. They always had all the rights. I have made sure that whatever opportunity comes my way, I give my heart and soul to it. Hard work has always been the ladder to success. But her parents always supported Priyanka Chopra. She always says her parents, who were the doctors in the army, they were overachievers. Her father, who was a doctor, who was a singer, an artist, and he was a very able doctor, and always Priyanka was always been inspired by him. And mother was also a doctor. Mother always used to tell Priyanka, don't get married until you are financially independent. Both of them are financially independent. They could have really given a lot of finances to the daughter. They could have really supported her, but she always said, please don't get married until you are financially. It's okay if you are just late in the marriage also, because you should get married at that point of time when somebody who understands the kind of labor that you have gone into to reach to this position. So that is what she says. She's always very admirable, and she's always very vocal for the women rights. But Indra Nooyi, she was having a very humble background, and she also reached to the top leadership. And her story is also a determination, hard work, and integrity. And she says about the leadership. First of all, she said about her humble background that when she reached USA, she got the scholarship to get the university, in the Yale University. Her parents were not very progressive to send her. In fact, the mothers and grandmothers were not very much keen to send her, because they said, if you are going unmarried and we don't know what is happening. They called a big meeting. Many relatives came there. They came to see her, what is the reason, whether some boy is there, whether she is into drinking habit, why she's going out and she's already having a good career here, why she wants to go. And then mother, ultimately she decided, I will go for fast for 24 hours until I'm dead. Then her grandfather came to the rescue and he said, see, let her die. If she dies, I'll take care of the whole of the family. So such kind of support she got from her grandfather and father. That is what the reason she went for the foreign country. And she says when she reached there, and she was just she purchased 2 suits for herself. One was the black in color, another was one beige in color. And 4 days used to pass because she used to interchange. Sometimes the full suit she used to wear, sometimes the beige blazer and the black pant she'll wear, or the black blazer and the beige pant she'll wear. And 4 days will pass and 5th days will be a problem. Then all the people were very fashionable because it's a business house. Everyone used to come with the fashionable clothes. And then she decided she cannot compete with all the men or the other female because of her personality and the dress up. She cannot compete, but her brain is far superior. She really worked a lot. She really worked very hard, so that she said she used to work 50% harder than the male counterparts, more than 50%, because of her personality. It demanded more hard work. And she did that, and she reached to that position. Everyone wanted Indra Nui in the corporation, and everyone was very happy with the work. So it is not only that your personality or everything has to be good. Sometimes your brain, you have to see what is your asset, and accordingly you have to move forward. She says about the leadership, it is hard to define, and good leadership even harder. But if you can get people to follow you to the ends of the earth, you are a great leader. So we have the another extraordinary Indian women who in their they are mostly below 40, and they have achieved. They are the entrepreneurs. One is Vinita Singh. She is an IIT and IIM graduate, IIM Ahmedabad and IIT Madras graduate, who left her 1 crore job from the investment bank offer for her startups, because she always wanted that. She was always scared of the failures, and she overcame her fears and changed them into wins, just because she always was very much uncomfortable. She said, IIT, IIM, there was no difficulty for me to crack. She was very brilliant. But then, she could not, she only was interested in the banking because it will give her easy job. But then she left that job. Now she's the CEO of Sugar Cosmetics. And her company is really doing, she's a good entrepreneur and is a lesson for all the youngsters to learn from her life. Namita Thapar, one of India's leading businessmen, is the CEO of Emcure Pharmaceutical. She's a 2nd generation. Her father also passed out from IIM Ahmedabad, and he started with the business. And with lot of discipline, and her mother, though she was housewife, she says she's my inspiration, and father has been always very strict, and he always says, you are not working hard, just because she is working very hard, but then father not reaching to the father's expectations. But mother was always, she used to, when other mothers, she says, like they tell their kids the story of Ramayana, Mahabharata. My mother used to come and show me the entrepreneurs. They see how they dress up, how they go to the offices, and that is how which led her the inspiration. And she's now Indian multinational. She's a businesswoman in the Indian multinational pharmaceutical company, which is valued at $750 million, which is based in Pune, Maharashtra. Now, these are 2 extraordinary women, according to me, Revati S. Kamath and Chitra Vishwanathan, who brought sustainability concept in architecture. They are also extraordinary. They started their own business organization. They work. One is based in Delhi, another one is based in Bengaluru, and basically their concept is employ local resources in an optimized way to plan with the natural elements, passively and actively. Mud is well suited for local conditions, is relatively labor intensive and locally available. They thought about the local labor, they thought about mud and sustainability. They tried to bring sustainability into design when concrete is already in vogue. The whole effort is to make MARDA viable material because it is using lesser embodied as well as operational energy, and it's recyclable and sustainable material on this planet. It only uses small mechanical energy and lot of human energy, which is available easily here. So these are two women who changed the scene, and they experimented with mud, and they were there is a lot to learn about their skills from these architects. Women empowerment. We people talk about women empowerment. What is basically women empowerment? It is being said that there is no tool for development more effective than the empowerment of women. Is it the empowerment generally is being talked about? It is about increasing and improving the social, political, and legal strength of the women, and to ensure equal right to women. The process of becoming stronger and more confident, especially in controlling one's life and claiming one's right. And education is the main aspect of human security, and as a means to empower women. These are some of the tips which, when the women is able to achieve that, we say the women, if she's confident, she's having some kind of rights are there, equal rights, social, political, and legal strength, and she's education she's getting, we say the women is empowered. So we have to see whether all the women are empowered, whether they can take some kind of whether they have the equal rights in terms of social, political, and legal strength, and whether they are educated. So we know the story, at least in the world over. 2/3 out of all the illiterates, 2/3 of the women are illiterates. So we can well imagine whether really we are all empowered. When women empowerment, we say when men and women, they are given equal opportunities to reach their potential, then we say the women are empowered. Sustainable development is only possible when men and women enjoy equal opportunities. And how do we expect the world to grow when the decision makers in our patriarchal society are only men making decisions on behalf of women without even comprehending what struggles the women are facing in their lives? So it is the report of the United Nations. As per that report, women all over the world are underprivileged and less empowered as compared to their male counterparts, whereas women actually perform 53% of the work. They are deprived of equal access to education, healthcare, capital, and decision-making powers in the political, social, and business sector. So the report says that women are not empowered. As per the Women 2015 study, out of the 781 million illiterate adults over the age of 50, 496 million women are illiterate, with significant hurdles in achieving the global goal of gender equality. Nearly 2/3 of the world's illiterate adults are women, a proportion that has remained unchanged for the past 20 years. According to United Nations Development Programme, women in Africa, they represent 52% of the total population, contribute approximately 75% of the agriculture work, earn only 10% of the African movement, and own just 1% of the continent's assets. So such is the situation of the women in the developing country, and you have already seen the situation of the developed countries as well. So we face tremendous challenge women face on the road to gender equality. Women represent half of the world's population. Gender inequality exists in every nation on the planet. This prevents half of the humanity from reaching to its full potential and hinders the growth of the society. In the majority of developing nations, mothers have the most influence on their children. Until women are given the equal opportunity at par with men, entire societies will not accomplish, and they will only accomplish below their true potentials. This is being said. SDG goals, as already been said by my earlier speakers, it talks about the gender equality. That is the goal. We have to realize it by 2030. And this is goal number 5, state that the gender equality and the women's empowerment is needed to combat poverty, tackle inequality, and climate change by 2030. It's a specific goal to achieve. The specific goal is to achieve the gender equality. The sustainable goals is also aimed to end illiteracy and all gender disparities in education by 2030. Are we ready for it? So we have to think and ponder about it. The UN Declaration on the Elimination of the Violence Against Women says, even in the developed countries, we witness the violence. I mean, not to talk about the developing countries. Violence against women is a manifestation of historically unequal power relationship between men and women. by which women are forced into a subordinate position as compared to men. Such violence is often seen as a mechanism for the subjugation of women, whether in society in general or in interpersonal relationship. It is being seen that it's been worldwide known that 1 in 3 women worldwide experience physical or sexual violence, mostly by an intimate partner. Violence against women and girls is a human right violation. The long-term physical, sexual, and mental consequences for women can be devastating. So again, the developed country, Spain, in the last decades, it was in the news from 1999 onwards. About 700 women have been killed in Spain by the partners or ex-partners. Just see the people are protesting in the 12 countries. BBC News reported domestic cases of violence in Spain. Spain domestic violence, trail of death shocks the entire society. And there were people are all up in arms. You can see the protest led by the ladies. So what are the components of women empowerment? The components of the empowerment: living life with a sense of self-esteem, respect and dignity, equal right to participate in social, religious and public activities, making financial and economic choices, opportunity for education, employment without any gender bias, safe and comfortable working environment. This is a UN definition of women empowerment. From here we can see, are we empowered? If we have all these points, that means we are empowered. So again, I will say, the women achievers who are sitting here or who are participating, we must be empowered. We are empowered, but there are others who are not empowered like us. Now, since the historic women had helped us, and now we have to take it forward so that in the next generation, the women should not be saying what is the diversity is required, the gender inequality is there. So we have already seen it in the previous slide that as per the World Economic Forum, the disparity is there, gender inequality is there, and you are not being able to, you and your children will not be able to see the gender equality, so that we have to work hard for it. And such kind of seminar and such kind of days are celebrated just to see what are the various achievements of the women, how do we have to make forward, what type of battle we have to fight, how do we have to work upon the society, or wherever we are, we can help the society or the females. B.R. Ambedkar, he's a famous Indian leader. He's a chairperson. He was a chairperson for the drafting committee for our constitution. He said, "I measure the progress of the community by the degree of progress which women have achieved." So in our constitution, women have been given the equal right. We are lucky enough that our constitution is very well drafted and the women have been given the equal right. That is the reason that the women are doing very well comparatively, but still lot are to be needed. The mindset of the people need change. Brigham Young, who is a spiritual and religious leader of USA, he said, "You educate a man, you educate a man. You educate a woman, you educate a generation." So true it is, because the women always interact with the family in the society. So you educate a generation. So education of the women is absolutely essential. Michelle Obama, the first lady of USA, the former first lady, she said, "No country can ever truly flourish if it stifles the potential of its women and deprives itself the contribution of half of its citizens." This has already been said many other leaders as well. When girls are educated, the countries become stronger and more prosperous. There is no limit to what we as women can accomplish. These are all the words. She's also a woman activist and she's done a lot of work for the women. He is Nelson Mandela, the former South African president. He said, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Education is a great engine of personal development. It is through education that the daughter of a peasant can become a doctor, that the son of a mine worker can become the head of the mine, that a child of farm workers can become the president of a great nation." So what is the Indian scenarios? India is the one of the countries where the female population is less than the proportion of the male population. 1991 showed that the sex ratio was 947 girls for 1,000 boys. Male to female ratio of India increased from 105.4 males per 100 females in 1950 to 108.18 males per 100 females in 2020, growing at an average annual rate of 0.19%. For centuries, the women have been deliberately denied the opportunities for growth in the name of religious and socio-cultural practices. We are also, like the world over, it's a patriarchal society where the man holds a primary position and he has the predominant role on the political leadership, moral authority, special privilege and control of the property. As our president also said, that they are the mainstay of our family, but we are the patriarchal society still, but they are the women role. They are working everywhere. They are working 53% population in some of the countries, 53% women are there. They're working even more than men. 75% of the work is being performed by the women. Still, the patriarchal society is there. That means whatever the work the women are performing, that is being undermined. Some bright spots are there now. India's former Prime Minister, President, Speaker of the Lok Sabha, Lower House of Parliament, leader of the Congress Party, and the cabinet leaders are women too. Apart from that, our chief ministers, our governors are also women. India is also the first country to send all female police contingent to participate in UN peacekeeping mission. So these are some of the bright spots I'm covering. There are many people, many ladies who are doing extremely well. Some of the examples I've given, some of them I have left, but there are a lot of examples to quote. Now, from the underprivileged people, and this has been shown by the earlier speaker as well, women in Uttar Pradesh have joined hands and formed an association which is known as Gulabi Gang. What is the purpose of this Gulabi gang is that they always they always help the women in oppression. Whenever they become physically and emotionally weak, they will reach there and wherever they find the women are being exploited, they will help those women. Till the date, they have aided a lot of women in the respective areas, no matter what the problem is, be it the domestic violence, rape, robbery, whatever it is, it will reach to help the women in oppression. So what is the role of the family? I have said in the earlier slides that always the family comes as a help to empower the women. Within the family, you get the empowerment. The male, of course, needs a change if the family is good. Or my previous two speakers said, like, they had very good family and they had very good brought up. Like me, I also had the similar kind of background from the family, got a very good treatment from my parents. So everyone is not that lucky. Women need to be aware about their rights. Women need to be more committed and dedicated. That is required from the women's side. But if the male wants, the female counterpart should be more empowered. No one can stop it. The father, spouse, or the brother's role is very important. Of course, women must be helping women. Women should always help women wherever, in whatever position they are there. We can take the example from our historical women, as I said. See, they must have fought very pitched battles to make us available this platform where we are standing today, and we have to internalize this legacy today so that we are able to bring a bright future for our daughters and granddaughters. So this is SP Vijayawada. I was being told that some organizations were to be shown. So this is, I'm very proud of this institute where I spent my 5 years. My early tenure was in Vijayawada, where I worked. When I reached Vijayawada, at that point of time, it was on a rented building. You won't believe, on the top floor, some coaching institute was operating, and only two floors were being given to us, and the third floor was operational with the coaching institute. And when I reached there, I belonged to NIT Hamirpur. My daughter was very small and she said, "Mama, why did you come for this institute? I'm not able to understand. You left such a big, huge institute and you came to very small institute." At that point of time, we had not shifted. So the struggle started. At that point of time, we had very less faculty, very less staff members, and the building was also very old. I mean, my daughter was also like, this is why you have come here. She was also not feeling esteemed, she was feeling little upset after seeing the building out there, frankly speaking. Then the struggle started at that point of time. The challenge was there in front of me, a lot of challenges. The faculty was less, staff members were not there, the building is not there. But my father always wanted, see, wherever you are able to help the nation, you must go. My husband was also very positive about it, and he said, yeah, you go, no problem, I'll take care of the kids. So I said, that's why I said, the family support is very much essential. And only one thing is there, see, I'm staying away from my family and I need to work very hard for it. So that was the...
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
We are falling short of time.
Yeah. Just I'm finishing. I'm just trying to tell to them a little bit only. Okay. So just I'm finishing. Okay. This is the last slides only. So consistent and hard work is required. So I used to work a lot, and you always should have the short-term and the long-term goals. I set up some deadlines and accordingly started working. So this is the images I'm just trying to show. These are all was being done there. And then we shifted one by one. We shifted the building. This is open air theater that you see here. And slowly, when you achieve something, then the happiness knows no bounds. I always appreciate, though the challenges were there. As Uma madam said, a lot of challenges, being female, they will say what not. They used to complain wherever they want to. I mean, they just never wanted some change, because I had to change the building, because we were paying 2.5 crore for that building, which was worth nothing. So this is what we achieved, and this is the achievement. Then we recruited the faculty. This is all because of the teamwork, and I admire the people because of the less faculty. I never thought whatever they are saying. I was just very focused and fearless, and I used to have empathize with the people, listen to their problems. So I'm just hoping whatever the challenges come your way, you should always take it very positively and try to work for the nation wherever the opportunity is given to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for enlightening us with your address on developing leadership and empowering women. This will definitely help all the women to deal with different challenges, with a positive note. Thank you once again, ma'am.
Yeah.
Now we move to the next speaker.
How much time did I take, Sarika?
Ma'am, 20 minutes.
I tried to, I know I was overshooting the time. Okay.
Let me introduce you first.
Yeah.
Moving further, I take this opportunity to introduce our last speaker, Architect Ritu Singh, proprietor, design architects and practicing architect at Jaipur. Architect Ritu Singh did her BArch from IIA Mumbai in 2000 and recently did a Certificate of Achievement, the Architectural Imagination course from Harvard University. Architect Ritu was associated with different firms prior to her own practice in 2002. Her work objective is to practice architecture, bringing professional talents and experience to a variety of challenges to successfully meet the client's satisfaction. Her firm, Design Architects, has designed many prestigious buildings in the state during the last 2 decades. They have worked on commercial and office buildings, institutional housing, heritage conservation, park, food courts, temples, healthcare, and so on projects. Designed and developed more than 100 projects of public utility totaling 4 crore square feet of area and healthcare facility costing more than rupees 4,000 crore. Architect Ritu Singh is recipient of the awards for excellent performance in architectural services by Rajasthan Urban Improvement Development Project, for excellent performance in architectural services on 75th Independence Day by Rajasthan government. Currently, Architect Ritu is a member of Council of Architecture, nominee State Government of Rajasthan. Ma'am, we welcome you today.
Thank you, ma'am, for inviting me. Let me share the slide.
Ma'am, can you
wait a
start
minute.
guiding? In the down, you will see the icon of present now. Present now. Is there, the icon is appearing? Yeah. Yes, ma'am. It's seen now.
Is it sharing?
Yeah, yeah. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Respected Dr. V.S. Kapse sir, Dr. Navneet Manoj sir, Chief Guest Architect Habib Khan sir, speakers, coordinators, and august audience. I am honored to have been invited to speak on International Women's Day, but for an already scheduled engagement, I couldn't travel, otherwise I would have been with you in person. My topic for today is breaking the mindset. Being an architect, I will focus more on opportunities and challenges to women in planning and architecture while sharing you with my personal experiences. My more than 2 decades as an architect include marriage, a delivery, shifting to Jaipur from Chandigarh when my husband was transferred here, and taking up a job and then setting up my own firm. It is more convenient to establish your practice in a city where you have grown up, as you have many friends and acquaintances. At a new place, you begin as a stranger among strangers, and it takes a lot of time before investors start trusting you with their projects. Another challenge for a woman to go around and meet potential clients in a conservative society. Yet, when I look back, I see that soon after I had set up my firm Design Architects, I landed with prestigious projects for Asian Development Bank in heritage conservation sector and medical sector. I also got nominated for 2 heritage conservation bodies, AMER Development Management Authority and State Committee on Museums in Rajasthan. I was brought up in Chandigarh, the city beautiful, where I took architecture as career. When my husband was posted to Jaipur, I moved along. That was the time when I had my first child, took a break from my profession for a few years to raise the baby, who is now following my footsteps and did his bachelor in architect from US. Widely traveled across the world, I have worked mostly in Rajasthan. I have designed and developed more than 100 projects of public utility, totaling 4.5 crore square feet of area, costing 6,000 crores in total, and in which medical and health care project costing more than 4,000 crores, services of which have been availed by millions of people. There is a perception that women are into interior designing only. Very often, the first question I am asked whenever I give my introduction, so you are an interior designer? My reply is, I am an architect, more into designing large-scale buildings, and mine is a single proprietorship firm. Now, I am somewhat known for my works, but even then, I do get to know someone involved in project, pointing out whether I can handle so many projects, even when I have done 100 of buildings. Sorry. So it really makes me happy when I am the first woman architect in Rajasthan to be facilitated by Rajasthan government on Independence Day. On earlier occasions also, I have been honored by many ministers for my projects. Let me quickly showcase some of my projects here before I get on to the topic of today. These are few commercial and office buildings. The one on the left is one of the first government building to get energy rating in Rajasthan. We have designed 20 office buildings in Rajasthan, and in which 10 are in Jaipur and 10 are in other cities of Rajasthan. Here are some of the institutional projects across Rajasthan. These include medical colleges, engineering colleges, agriculture colleges, university, school, food craft institute. In all, 55 institutional projects span all over Rajasthan, with 3 universities in Kota, 2 universities and 5 institutional projects in Jaipur, Other projects include 32 schools and 13 institutional projects across other cities in Rajasthan. These are some of the healthcare projects that I have designed. They include 10 medical colleges, 18 hospitals across major cities in Rajasthan, and Rajasthan University of Health Sciences Medical College and Hospital could easily be converted into state largest COVID hospital with 1200 bedded inpatient capacity during COVID times. I have also done some residential, heritage conservation, temples, biological and eco park projects. Preparing DPRs to get approval from government has become our forte, as I have prepared DPRs for 24 medical colleges and hospitals in Rajasthan to get approval from the union government. My professional expertise encapsulates a variety of building types which enables the visitor in terms of healthcare, education, commerce, residential, recreational, and spirituality. Such projects are put forward to various ministers, officers, and media at a communal stage, where inputs promote holistic developments leading to an improved quality of life for current and for generations to come. Over the years, I have reflected and observed that mindset changes over time and allows one to solve challenges as they arise. Mental clarity allows us to filter through our endless thoughts and follow through with the important ones to take action. As a woman, one has to be an excellent architect of our own internal self in order to take on the world with our best foot forward. In these pictures, I am explaining various projects to our Honorable Chief Minister and Health Minister of Rajasthan. You can see me, the only woman in the crowd. It is more crucial to not lower the bar than to raise it. As a woman, to achieve excellence in a majority male atmosphere, one's professional capabilities are essential to achieve a harmony towards various issues and approaches. Site visit unfolds various discussions and approaches where majority of the voices aren't women-oriented. Genuine integrity and core strength has enabled my journey as woman to an architect. As I was preparing this presentation, I got a chance to look back at myself as a woman architect. I asked myself, have I ever considered myself a woman architect or an architect? Once I start working on a project, when I work as a professional and never let myself blocked down by the thought that I am a woman. I have listed a few points that help me remain focused, which are: set clear goals with timeline, practice being decisive, redefine failures, face your fears, remain curious, and think differently than the rest of the world. Now, it is impossible to practice everything at once, but habits are only hard to form. Slowly, such mindset changes start to affect one's attitude toward resilience and promote faster mental recovery by keeping a calm head to challenges. Looking oneself as a building where you can lay one brick at a time, it is important to look at the bigger picture of yourself and your conscious values from a higher level. It is important to know how to get in sync and disagree well when needed for a greater good. Disagreements can always be curated through thoughtful discussions, which is an art in itself. Discussing ideas and vision of buildings which involve various stakeholders requires complexity at hand to be expressed with utmost simplicity to promote exchange of ideas which benefit society as a whole. Institutional buildings hold individuals with the responsibility of fostering a healthy environment despite of various stresses, adversities, promoting acceptance to various backgrounds, and harboring unity across various professionals related to the development. More often than not, such accomplishment require breaking the mindset to hold up the sky simply due to the fast pace of world we are in. And as a woman in a multifaceted society, each one of us has multiple skies to hold. Here in this picture, I am explaining my projects to ex-Chief Minister Vasundhara Raje ji. Understanding mindset is similar to wearing hats or lenses. Each one has its own functional in specific situations. I do not come from a business family, and I choose to be the first architect in my family lineage. I never had a support of a joint family, so that I had to manage profession and family side by side, which taught me to switch my mental gears to be efficient in whatever I do. The spirit of life within us helps to find creative ways to tackle basic challenges which women shouldn't be facing if a country is said to be developed. A lot of my projects take me to isolated places which require late night travels. At times, my travel schedules become extensive because of the same day return. I set to bring about a meaning through my architectural works in landscape where there are no facilities to freshen up even for hundred of kilometers. You should know the power of your mind and program it to success with your mindset. Of course, I have a team and I have trained a good number of fresh graduates who joined me. Here too, not every male architect or engineer is comfortable to accept a woman as employer, even if they had all their lives many women teachers. Every woman who breaks the stereotype has to face their own set of challenges, which are often unheard by our male counterparts. It takes a while to get used to remarks as they are often hidden in offhand witty statements. But with experience, it trains the intuition to sense and be aware of how interpersonal situations develop over time. In a professional setting, one's technical caliber, quality of discussions and expertise should be focused irrespective of the gender. A scenario without such barrier is so ideal because of that certain mentalities who confuse and drag male preferences to the professional settings. Workplace norms and social conduct is improving, but the mindset has to be broken by showing and leading the way to hold off the sky. In contrast to the previous slide, the biggest hurdle which we face is of fixed mindset. That is a major hurdle to succeed in any profession or any work. A woman has to fight her own fixed mindset as also of the others around her who will stereotype her. People with fixed mindset will always avoid challenges. Rather than risk failing and negatively impacting their self-image, they will often avoid challenges and stick to what they know they can do well. They avoid obstacles. They would rather give up easily than risk not overcoming. They believe effort is fruitless. Hard work doesn't pay because they think you are what you are and you can do only what you do. They ignore negative feedback. Well, ignore is the best of cases. Feedback is often taken as an insult. They believe that any criticism of the capabilities is criticism of them personally. They are threatened by the success of others. They will try to convince themselves and the people around them that the success of others was due to either luck or unethical actions. Now let us come to the growth mindset. That is what is needed utmost. People with growth mindset are motivated by challenges. They embrace challenges because they know they will come out stronger on the other side. They persist in the face of setbacks. Obstacles on external setbacks do not discourage them. Their self-image is not tied to their success or how they will look to others. Failure is an opportunity to learn. So whatever happens, they win. They believe effort is necessary. Effort is needed for them to grow and learn and master their skills. For them, feedback is a source of information. That doesn't mean that all criticism is worth integrating or that nothing is ever taken personally. But at least they know they can change and improve. They are inspired by the success of others. Success is not a zero-sum game. Success is a source of inspiration and information. Now let me share a few personal experiences about how different it is for a woman architect to work in a field, which is mainly real estate and construction engineering, and so male dominated. The women civil engineers are almost non-existing. I have met only one woman chief engineer in my entire professional life and 2 women contractors. Invariably, I am the only woman at site spread over many acres with hundreds of workers around. Just to give an idea about how engineering still remains a male-specific field, at upcoming Badmer Petro Refinery, there is not even a single woman in some 15,000 workforce. It is upon us women to define and create our own space within our respective professions, as we are equally capable pillar of the strength for the nation's economy and workforce. And believe me, as a woman, you will always find yourself to be leading as an example, even if you choose not to be. One has to make effort to bring a change in one's attitude, and one keeps evolving all the time. As a woman, you have to often strike a balance between family and the work. I am happy that I have handled it well, and I do believe the most of us can do and must do it. I do not believe in ignoring family due to career. All we need is a little effort to adjust and accommodate, which is wrongly described as compromise. We work for 40 to 50 years, and a break or lesser work for a few years, whether to enjoy raising your child or for your own health and well-being, does not matter. It is important to establish clear personalized metrics which enables one to follow their own plan. Dedication to professional development also harbors good work habits, which often also benefits other areas of life. Transform your negative thoughts. Changing your negative inner dialogue to positive self-talk can make a world of difference. It is believed that ability and intelligence is fixed, not grown through practice, which is false. The opposite of the fixed mindset is the growth mindset, which inherits the belief that abilities are stretched and grown through challenges and, yes, even failures. Better to be a risk taker and learner than a quitter. There are unimaginable ways to break the mindset, because a mindset breaks when it is rigid or fixed. But whatever the way it is, it always creates space to achieve one's goals and objectives. Sometimes due to society pressure, we create more problems, but do only consider them as the set of outcomes thought only by you. Recognizing the fixed mindset and then acting on it requires impulse control, which is an act of meditation. Diagnosing problems inward or outward of oneself requires a clear understanding of root cause. The creative problem solving and thinking outside of the box always start from the foundation level. There will always be infinite number of problems to be solved, but distinguishing big problems from the small ones help us to act on those areas where the difference can be brought about with ease. I feel once a woman decides to set on a journey, she can work it out in her own way. You will not see progress in days, but over a period of time, when you look back on your journey, you will see result of your hard work. Be the best version of you. In my journey, I also learned to not mistake a cause of problem with the real problem. Trusting one's own judgment skills help to identify not only one's own inner problems, but helps those around need as well. Someone due to society setbacks are the art of dealing with them is unique to each and helps to move forward and sculpt one's nature with the synergy of one's surrounding. Women have independence, equal opportunities, and the ability to make strategic choices in all areas of our lives. Our journey begins with opportunity identification, idea generation, idea implementation, and then following that with a passion. To achieve the best version of you, unblock your inner resources to grow and prosper with impressive communication, improving self-image, and dealing with difficult people. Even if one could virtually have anything of one's desire, one still can't have everything. A strong baseline in terms of an unshakable sense of comfort helps to create a satisfactory foundation in life. A foundation which guarantees no matter what the conditions are, you will hold strong and stand to ground. We as humans can evolve, mold, and change over time, but expectations have to be realistic, which comes as everyone carries their own journey through current times and our shared spaces. Each one has to be a great planner to survive, but learn the art to execute them. Flexibility and self-accountability can enable everyone to succeed in their own ways. A woman's capability is always created by a great expectation from those who depend upon us. Such an act is also an everyday platform to outperform the expectation of those who view women with fixed mindset. Here, the first photo is when I had to rush back to Jaipur from Chandigarh, halfway through my father's last rite ceremonies to attend launch of one of my project in 2007. The last picture when I was recovering from a severe illness and I was finding it difficult to even stand for a few minutes. Even then, I worked. Each one of us has a weakness, and that is what makes us human. But at the same time, weakness doesn't matter if we find solution as a collective, as strength lies in breaking down barriers which fragment our society on a binary basis. Old patterns in our society which controlled women need to be adapted to give women the control to bring in their contribution to the society. Pain and reflection is the only way to create a plan on which we can progress together. But goals and desires have a fine line between them. One is consciously planned and the other one is impulsive. We as a woman have to redefine our peace and prosperity by contributing to a society where our unchained productivity benefits most people. Only then one can uplift oneself by uplifting others. Many officers and engineers involved in my projects I have been doing have motivated their daughters to become an architect. Seeing me working, seeing other women in the field harmonizing upon the differences they had been brought up, which fills me with a sense of pride and purpose. In each woman I met in a professional setting, I had observed that evolving in life's greatest accomplishments and reward, because it is the same thing which defines our journey and narrative, which helps to inspire others in a way you could never imagine. One thing which is common between all of us is that there is always one big thing unique to everyone, which creates resistance on the path to holding the sky. It is paramount to recognize it and deal it in a way which is well suited for our long journey. We must accept that ours is a judgmental society. We are very good at making wrong assumptions that create bias to suit our stereotype thinking. It is easy to run down a successful woman. Not everyone will align with you, who you are. But when those who do, it is important to cherish those. There will be barriers in making your passion and your work one, and the same while doing it with those who you cherish. To jump those barriers, it is important to align one's own service with the greater service to others. Unpleasant people teach us that it is important to find time for rest and renovation, to create space to heal and reconfigure with one surrounding at hand. When I began my own firm, I often find my male employees or consultants of services almost demanding that I enter into partnership with them. Some would even behave as if they are obliging me by working with me. Well, some have a habit to run down any woman they find doing well in life. I do get to know how such lot won't even spare top women bureaucrats. Once a bureaucrat told me and my young team to have some gray hair person in our team so that aged engineers could feel comfortable. Sometimes it does concern me as a woman when I am the only woman staying in a dark bungalow in a faraway city hotel. Rajasthan is geographically the largest state, and at times when I decide to return home the same day, it is not so comfortable to travel around midnight. And even when your driver would like to take a halt at a dhaba or a restaurant for a cup of tea, so often I skip having dinner because I find no family or woman at the dhaba or restaurant. Even if there are, I take a precaution not let strangers know in case I am traveling alone in a car at that time. Our vigilance is our angel wings, which helps us to rise up and observe the entire spectrum of our society. But it is equally easy to fall as an angel when mankind is busy anchoring us than to fight their demons with. The biggest contribution to society the women of modern times can do is to be a part of any profession, to be an ally to other sisters. Then only women as a collective will bring about a change in the large democracy we are a part of. Getting lost in the herd mentality is the opposite of forging your own path of success. Every individual is unique, and so are the set of challenges as they are faced with. But it is important to redefine your own circle of influence and recognize the things which lie outside of it. Building one's own mental fortitude helps to cherry-pick strategies which uniquely work for oneself. Even if, as a woman, you find safety in numbers, it is important to embrace your own qualities as an individual, be it professional or ethical. Karma always find a way to teach us about your own contribution to shared experiences of being alive. No matter what your ability is, effort is what ignites that ability and turn it into accomplishment. Thank you so much for listening me and giving me this opportunity to share my views. Thank you so much.
Congratulations once again, ma'am, for your award by Government of Rajasthan and informing about the breaking the mindset in the main dominating society, especially in Rajasthan. And this journey which you have explained in few words and a lot of visuals was really very inspiring. Thanks a lot once again.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
All the participants are requested to write the questions in the chat box. We'll now have the question answer session. Ma'am, there is a question by Anupama Karanam. She is mentioning, I think, till we keep saying women can also do it, we have not enough begin to understand how we are a subject of perpetual stereotype. Why does a job have to be termed as doable by only a certain gender in first place? It is such a sensitive topic, and as Uma ma'am pointed it out, it is not visible till you can start paying attention to details. In that sense, we are far away from any kind of priority. So just a thought, and to all the women on the panel, thank you. Anupama ma'am, can you just mention this question is addressed to which speaker?
Yeah, Sarika, can you hear me?
Yeah, yes.
No, this is not a question. What I was trying to say was that I have worked with Uma ma'am in the organization that she was talking about, and I could resonate with so many. We used to discuss a lot about all these things, which really didn't affect our work in any which way. But they were things that we are also stereotyped. When I go back and say, you see, I could also do this job. That means I'm also stereotyped into thinking probably it was not something that I could do. So I was just mentioning that these are subtle things. And Ritu ma'am, you're really doing a great job with this firm of yours. And it was a good discussion. Thank you. So it was not a question, just
thank you, Anupama ma'am.
Okay, I don't see any questions in the chat box. So we can move further. As the program winds down, on this note, let's conclude a remarkable, memorable, and knowledgeable session. Moving further, I would like to give the concluding remarks. Women should have self-confidence, work sincerely, overcome challenges, and explore diverse activities. The message to all the women present here is to believe in yourself and serve society by contributing to creating a better built environment. So we started this symposium with a welcome address by Dr. V.S. Kapse, sir, and he informed about multiple activities which are conducted in ITPI MRC Nagpur in recent time. And during his chairmanship, we had a lot of activities which were varying from local to national level. So thank you, sir, for informing us. Then we had a welcome address from Dr. Navneet Manath, Honorary Director, COA-TRC Bhopal. He mentioned about several programs and schemes by Government of India for women empowerment. Further, he also mentioned about the contribution which has been given by COA-TRC Bhopal, where he has seen countless women are participating as a resource person and coordinator for various programs under COA-TRC. We were privileged to have architect Habib Khan, President COA, as our chief guest for today's event, and he started with statistics about women empowerment and the percentage distribution of women in practice, academic, government, and other sectors. And he mentioned that we do have almost equal numbers when it comes to education, but when it comes to practice, especially post-marriage, the number keeps on reducing. So non-working women are also existing here in terms of architectural profession, which maybe in future, the numbers are getting reduced, and that's a positive note. And he rightly said that behind every successful woman, there is a woman. So her own dedication and willpower is going to help her to come forward. So thank you, sir, once again. Then we started with the technical session where we had the lecture by 4 eminent speakers. Dr. Alka Bharat, she mentioned about balancing the bias, where she gave the statistics. So she gave about the statistics of women, and she mentioned about something called as missing girl. So are we really trying to address at times, because if we see, we always see number of men's, and there is a term that's termed as chairman. Then we started with using the term as chairperson. So something, it always comes in our mind, back of mind, is this gender discrimination exist or not? And she gave few examples of discrimination. She mentioned about change is inevitable and change is going to happen, and it's happening also in a positive note. She mentioned something about mindsets and spaces and how equality, equity, and empowerment is happening. At times, it's necessary to sensitize and aware the future, the gender equity. This particular thing has been addressed in UN chapter SDG 5, National Policy for Women in 2016, and lots of other schemes of empowerment in India and also across the world. And at the end, she mentioned that we need to just not think about the gender sensitivity in terms of males and females, but we should be thinking about space and designs which are gender neutral. Then moving further, the next speaker, Ms. Uma Adusumilli, discussed about her own experience and environment for women's participation at workplaces, where she beautifully explained that how when she entered in the field, the acceptance of the male colleague, and by the time she retired after a couple of decades, the things was entirely different. And she appreciated the participation by women planners in her firm. She mentioned that they finishes the jobs and then only leave the workplace. Thank you, ma'am, for mentioning that. And even I feel I have also had the same experience here at my workplace. And she also mentioned about participation in group activities. There is an equality and efficient participation of women as we see for men also. Then moving further, she also said that think equal and be equal. This is the right message which has been given by Uma ma'am to all the participants here. Our next speaker, Dr. Minakshi Jain, mentioned about developing leadership and empowering women in organization, where she, in the initial stage of developing leadership, she mentioned about how women had to face a lot of issues in the past. So historic women versus women in the 21st century, where we are now having lots and lots of opportunities. So she presented this particular leadership examples with facts and figures, and rightly pointed out that it took a lot of time for women to get right to vote. And she mentioned it's not about India or developing nation, but in the developed nation also women have to fight for her right to vote. Further, she mentioned about the empowerment, where she said that education, is definitely is helping us. And in fact, if you just look at the numbers by SDG 5, just mentioning about gender equity, the numbers, women education in India for primary education, it is 100%, but when it comes to this senior higher education, the numbers goes on reducing a lot. So that's something which we need to work on. She mentioned about components of women empowerment with multiple examples. And rightly at the end, she was pointing about how different great personalities mentioned about empowering women. Educate men, you are educating only a single person, but if you are educating women, you are actually educating all of the family and society. So thank you, ma'am. Moving to the last speaker, architect Ritu Singh. She described her own study, her own story, success story. And in fact, it wasn't just a success story in true sense. It was a story which was working from the challenges to the success, breaking the mindset, which she explained with her experiences with different projects, and how she could be a part in the males dominating Rajasthan environment, and she could have her own space. And she also mentioned this whole thing with certain keywords which were very, very impressive to look at and to read at. Yes, a woman can. Or to say a few more, yes, instead of saying I can't do it, why can't we say I can do it, and things will be in a better note. Be the best version of you. Motivated and women to, and at the end she also said that she was one of the motivational person for a lot of women who choose architecture as the profession. So thank you one and all who are present here. Now I would also like to just inform you about, when I was discussing about the challenges and opportunity, and I was thinking, do we really have to face all these problems? So I myself, and along with me, my two siblings, they're also architect planner. So I'm in academics. In terms of women discrimination, I never thought that came as a hurdle in my field. In fact, I could place myself and I had all equal opportunities. I asked the same question to my younger sister, Suchita Malevar, who is a practicing architect and doing very good in the profession. She said that she had problem in her initial stage of practice, and now things are going so well. My other sister, who was working in MMRDA, now in CITCO, and as I've mentioned, she was a big admirer of Uma ma'am. So she also mentioned, no, I never had any problem, any issues when I was working in this environment. In fact, she pointed out that we are privileged that we are getting 30% of the reservation as women candidate in government jobs. So I feel at times it's in your mind. If you really work hard, things will be getting better the day by day. So as we are, okay. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah, ma'am, there are a few questions by Kirti Suresh. She is asking, I want to ask the amazing and panel speaker based on their experience. How have office spaces have been more comfortable with time? So, ma'am, can you, Kirti, can you just mention to whom you're addressing this question to? Uma, ma'am, you can give the answer.
Okay. As far as spaces are concerned, they have become a lot more friendly and easy to work in than decades ago. So, but there is no uniformity of spaces, workspaces. It varies across the spectrum of sectors, and then within the sector also what kind of office you are working in. Probably the question is regarding the space, ease of operation in a space. If it is about safety in a space, I don't think that will that would have changed substantially. The lot more crowded spaces were probably a bit more opaque.
Yes. Good evening, ma'am. Yeah, I am a young architect in a structural firm. So I was the first architect here, and they were all engineers, and they all happened to be male. So it was very specifically I felt indifferent over there. So when I'm saying office spaces, also in terms of the office furniture, to be very basic, the ergonomics behind our office furniture, rather than having open spaces in the firm. I also wanted to understand that because they do not come with a background where they have to even give a thought of considering how office furniture need to be designed for a pregnant woman or even for a person who is not during the menstruating time. So it becomes for me, I want to be putting it out blunt. I didn't even know that a backbone pain could be as a result of a furniture design. So all these considerations felt very basic, but again, I understand that this is something which needs to be shaped. So I proposed, and not like my office environment is very unlikely to be just dismissing it right away, but also I felt that it being someone new to a space which is not known before. So we had to inculcate those things into their head. But again, I wanted to understand from your experience also, all the people on the panel, that how have you guys also come across something wherein you had to, I feel that what if I come across a situation wherein I wouldn't be in an accepting environment wherein they wouldn't even consider how to revise basic design needs. So in terms of design needs, space needs, I'm asking, how has it resulted in terms of the productivity and efficiency from a day-to-day basis? Today, for example, I come with some pain or some menstruating pain, let's say cramps basically. So the need for open spaces, does that put a change on impact in terms of efficiency for women, is what my question was again.
Yeah, because we work in, despite being in government, we work in spaces where architects and planners also sit, engineers. These are primarily technical organizations. I am not sitting in and working in Mantralaya. So I am working in MMRDA, and I worked in CITCO earlier. Since these have a lot of architects and engineers and planners, I think they are definitely more comfortable than some other government offices where large number of people sit. And there has been improvement over a period of time because the governments are spending more money and incorporating design elements into their interior designing. So I think there is a substantial improvement from when I joined 40 years ago.
Yes,
others may also.
I'll just like to add something to this. Kirti, there are few temporary requirement spaces, and then there are spaces which can be used for multi-purpose, right? So this is what Uma ma'am has just now said, that they are now being considered as one of the design elements, as we are going for barrier free, we are going for low carbon, we are going for green infrastructure. Likewise, they are also going, right? So there are some spaces which extend the multiplicities, or they serve the multiplicities. So that can be used. We cannot just have some specific spaces designated for a purpose. Once in a while, it is going to happen, right? That is, there has to be a trade-off between this. I think that adds to solving this. Is it fine,
Okay.
Kitty?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I understand that you need to understand the whole intent of why it has to be designed and what is the footfall that's falling on the design, and also understand the collective need of it.
Yes, it's very subjective at times. We
Yes,
cannot
yes,
have blanket spaces everywhere.
yes. Agreed. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. And thank you, Kirti, also for asking the questions.
Thank you very much.
I would like to thank all the key speaker and the chief guest for their presence here. So as a token of appreciation, we kindly request you to accept the memento currently virtually, and we'll be posting you the memento. So Architect Habib Khan, sir, as a manifesto of our gratitude for being the chief guest in the symposium, we again thank you, sir. Dr. Alka Bharat, ma'am, as a token of our appreciation for delivering an expert talk in the symposium, we once again thank you, ma'am. Ms. Usha Adusumilli, ma'am, as a token of our appreciation for delivering an expert talk in the symposium, we thank you, ma'am. Dr. Minakshi Jain, as a token of our appreciation for delivering an expert talk in the symposium. And the last, once again, I would like to thank Architect Ritu Singh for our appreciation for delivering an expert talk in the symposium. Thank you once again, everyone.
Thank you, and it's a pleasure to be.
Yeah, the end of the story is the new beginning for many others. So thanks, though a 6-letter words is a telltale to be heard that goes only in front of those who are worthy of it. So now I request Professor Vandana Khante, Coordinator and Chairperson, ITPI MRC Nagpur, for formal vote of thanks.
Thank you, Sarika. I hope it was really a brainstorming sessions, and it must have been an eye-opener to all of you that women have every opportunity. You just need to grab it. So on that note, I just propose my formal vote of thanks. Honorable Architect Habib Khan, President, Council of Architecture, today's chief guest, eminent speakers, council member, distinguished guests, special invitees, and participants. A very good evening to all. I, Vandana Khante, Symposium Coordinator and Chairperson, Women's Cell, on behalf of ITPI MRC Nagpur, feel privileged to propose vote of thanks to all those who help us to make this symposium a great success. I would like to thank Chief Guest Architect Habib Khan for sparing his time from his busy schedule and kindly accepting our invitation and gracing the symposium. Sir, we are blessed with your presence. We have been fortunate to have a renowned personality from academics and industries, Dr. Alka Bharat, Mrs. Adusumilli, Dr. Minakshi Jain, Architect Ritu Singh. The lectures were highly resourceful and discussed each theme in detail at such a small time span. I am sure that contents of lectures are positively taken by the participants. I take this opportunity to thank Dr. Vijay Kapse, Chairman, ITPI MRC Nagpur. Sir, thank you for initiating the idea of hosting symposium. I take this opportunity to thank Dr. Navneet Munot, Honorary Director, COA-TRC Bhopal. Now it's time to thank our coordinator, Dr. Smita Khan, Dr. Sarika Bahadure, for anchoring the event smoothly and efficiently. Also thank Shri Jagdish Rajurkar, Secretary, for providing infrastructure and food. So I would like to thank all the participants. guests and invitees for participation and attention. Now invite all the participants for working dinner. Thank you.
Thank you, one and all. So we are ending the meet now.
Thank you so much. Take care.